Hi, I'm Rusty Wise, and today on the Wise News Network, we're going to be talking about the City Council meeting in Cherryville, North Carolina last night, July 10th, 2023. It was voted on last night at the City Council meeting that the museum located at 109 East Main Street, the museum building, would be sold to Cherryville Main Street LLC, Mr. Patrick O'Leary, for $400,000. For the last 6 months, the city has been accepting bids and offers on the property, but last night they decided to actually sell the property. There were many discussions brought up in the Citizens to be Heard about the museum, and here are some of those clips.
When I come up here and I'm spilling my heart about how I feel about these issues, and then I just don't, I feel like everything is a preset on a cue. And, in other words, I think this is a waste of time, me standing up here and making myself look like an idiot trying to convey how, in my opinion, how the citizens feel. And I don't think any amount of money is worth having a darn arsenic pond, a mile down the road. But, I appreciate y'all listening and stuff like that, but, that's like that lithium deal when they came up and everybody was talking and then y'all had a pre-written statement and it just makes you feel like, why did I even waste my time? And so it is what it is, and we'll do it again. You know that. Thanks.
Hey Joe, that's a lie. You're telling the people in Cherryville that the museum decided that they weren't going to have anything to do with the city? That's a lie. And you've spread that lie many a times, and we're not going to put up with it.
I got a question for you, Al.
No, this is my time.
Do you live in Cherryville?
This
Your
is my
car
time.
has an Oklahoma tag on it.
This is my time.
Sit down.
This is my time. That you think you're open and honest with everyone? You're closed door. You're closed ears. You don't talk about what you're going to talk about. You just vote. There's a lot more to that than all of that. You don't hear recommendations about any of the items, rarely from the city council or from the city staff. You just go and do what you want to do. It's time. It's going to stop.
I think the decisions you're making is based totally off money. The lithium deal's money, the museum's money. There's no other reason why you would sell the museum other than get money. I know you're wanting to get rid of the board. That's one of the reasons. Understand that. And your cluster home neighborhoods, that's about money too. So I think, most of the decisions are made totally about money. I just hope, and I hope Mr. O'Leary or Cherryville Main Street LLC at least keeps the museum where it is. And you guys have said he's a billionaire. That's 1,000 millionaires. Billionaire is a lot of zeros. And if he's got that kind of money, I challenge Mr. O'Leary to keep the museum where it is, make it ADA accessible, put an elevator in for all the citizens of Cherryville. Also, it was brought up during the Citizens to be Heard of a lawsuit that was filed yesterday by the Cherryville Historical Association, and Mr. Al Putnam, the president, discussed that after the meeting with us. We did receive a copy of the lawsuit that was filed yesterday, July 10th, about the adverse possession by the Cherryville Historical Association.
So anyway, you all know that there's a lawsuit filed for adverse possession or adverse possession of claim for real property. So the property now has been encumbered. There's a mechanic's lien on the property. There's other things with that. And you can't sell the building because it doesn't belong to you. The Cherryville Historic Association filed the lawsuit.
But you had to have individuals sign the lawsuit, right? And was your name on the lawsuit?
My name is on an affidavit.
If you're part of that lawsuit, then this council is permitted to even talk to you.
Can't even talk to you.
So I feel like this conversation is over,
Well,
as far as I'm concerned.
We're here with Al Putnam, and he's the president of the Cherryville Historical Association. Al, tonight they voted to sell the museum to Patrick O'Leary or Cherryville Main Street LLC. What do you think about the decision tonight?
I think that that's a short-sighted decision. We actually had filed a lawsuit today for squatters' rights or adverse possession decree. So we meet all the state standards. The state standard says 20 years. We've actually been in the building for 39 years and 6 months. So we make it until October, and we'll be the owners of the building at that time.
Now, what does the lawsuit, is it to retain, to be a tenant or the ownership of the building itself?
It's ownership of the building, and we've got some caveats. We got a couple more to add to that. We're going to have the deed encumbered, that it must be a museum for the life here on Earth, and for the building's life on Earth. And we will then ask for the rights to everything property-wise that we have in our possession. And
Yes, there's a lot of open dialogue tonight, back and forth. Is very good discussions. So I guess it's in your lawyer's hands, and between your lawyer and the city's lawyer, I guess, of what becomes next.
Exactly, and we're going forward with whatever it takes to have that adverse possession.
Well, there you have it, guys. A lawsuit has been filed by the Cherryville Historical Association against the city of Cherryville on being a tenant, I guess, for all these years without technically a lease, or was it a signed lease? Do we know?
The city can't produce a signed lease. We understand and have documentation that says there was a 99-year lease, but they kept throwing back, and it was $1 a year. They kept throwing to us that it was that we had that lease, and they said, "Well, you've never paid for the lease." Well, we all know, if we have a little business sense, that if you're buying something for a year for $1, they're not looking for that payment. But the city had a big falling out with that, and there's $50 for 50 years of using that building, and don't know where it is. City says they don't have it, so and they just they want money, but then they throw money away. So
After the meeting, we caught up with Mayor H.L. Beam of Cherryville and asked him a few questions about the museum sale. We're here with H.L. Beam, the mayor of Cherryville, and tonight the council decided to sell the historical building that houses the museum. And what's your thoughts on the sale itself?
Well, to be honest with you, I think it was a no-brainer. I mean, we had a bid for $400,000 on the $10 museum. We had already been told by that rogue board that they didn't want anything to do with the city. So why would we keep a building that we had no authority over, no say-so what to do with the building or anything else? So I think we made the right decision. I'll stand behind the council on what they voted on tonight.
Now, earlier in a news report with you, you stated that there was a restaurant possibly coming. Do you know what may be coming to the building now?
To be honest with you, I do not. I've heard different things. I think our history is always going to be here in Cherryville. I think it will be preserved regardless of who does it and where it's preserved. But city has no intentions of losing our history. You know yourself, that's just something you don't do. You have to cherish what you have in your history, and we will continue to do that in some form or other.
Also, in last night's meeting, it was discussed that all the incumbents are preparing to run again in the November election. That's the 2 councilmen and the mayor's position.
This past Friday, I, along with council members Malcolm Parker and John Abernathy, all traveled to the Gaston County Board of Elections to file for re-election in this coming November's election. The 3 of us are seeking to serve our city once again for the upcoming term of our respective offices.
Also, there was a new filing yesterday by Janice Hovis for Ward 4, which is currently held by Malcolm Parker. All right, we're here with Janice Hovis that just filed for a council position. Can you tell us why you filed?
I certainly can. I have deep roots in this city. I love this city, and I served this city for 30 years. And I think with my experience that I can help this city move forward. There's a lot being done. A lot of good things have been done. But I want to help the city move forward because we are certainly going to be growing, and I want to be a part of that.
So you filed, so now you've got a big campaign, I guess, between now and November.
That's correct. Yes, I do. I have a committee formed, so I'm going to start working very hard between now and November 7th.
So there you have it. Janice Hovis filed for councilwoman in the November 2023 election.
Certainly. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. I'm Rusty Wise reporting for the Wise News Network. This is a developing story for the sale of the museum building. Stay tuned for more segments upcoming.